What's happening there, YouTube? Genji here, and welcome back to another episode of StarRupture. In today's episode, I have kind of a dual mandate of things that I want to try to knock out that we've been working up towards for the last few episodes. One is I want to finish up the access quest to getting into the Forgotten Engine so we can finally open up the map and get access to the new resources and the new areas. We're in a pretty good place to do that. We have half of the recipe for power cells. We just need to get electronics online. The other thing is I want to get access to the Furnace V2s, which we're going to need to simplify a lot of our endgame construction chains. So let's take a look here at the recipe station and see what we're going to need to do both of these. So in the basic item printer for power cells, again, we're going to need electronics, and to get electronics online, we're going to need one to get a hold of the blueprint for electronics, and then we're also going to need to get a factory online for inductors, for stators, and then for electronics. For Furnace V2 access, we're also going to need to unlock the recipes for hardening agent, which is going to require us to get into sulfuric acid production, applicators, and also unlock the recipe for super magnet, which we're actually in a good place to do. We just need to get access to sulfuric acid again. So we don't actually have to set up factories for all of these. We just need to unlock the recipe in order to unlock Furnace V2. So we'll see if we have enough time to get to both of those activities today. But before we start on any of that, I have some quick touch-up to do here in this factory before we leave it behind for a little bit, and that is we need to deal with our core overheat. So I'm going to put together a quick tower of base core amplifiers here. Now we only need a couple of these, 3 of these, I guess technically, but it's not going to hurt us to do more than necessary. So I do want to put together a quick tutorial on how to stack these in the most efficient way and see how many of these we can put into a single stack with the new pillar support rules in Update 1. So let me find a good place for these first. So we'll place our first base core amplifier here, and we're going to put adjacent to it 4 pillars, one on each adjacent tile here, because when we get to the maximum height of these side pillars, we're only going to have one adjacent tile of support, and so we want each of these 4 tiles inside here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, to be supported by an adjacent pillar. So we're going to put 5 pillars on either side here, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at this height, we actually have no adjacent tiles of support. So if I place a tile here, I cannot place a tile here in the middle. So at this height, we'll actually not be able to place a base core amplifier. However, up until this point, on this 5th pillars, even up to 1 vertical unit below where this platform is placed, these pillars have 1 adjacent tile of support. So we'll be able to use these pillars to support base core amplifiers in the middle here. We just won't be able to place any past this point. So I'll delete this platform. Now, we've done tower stacking many times in this series, but to refresh our memory here, we can get these side pillars to support a building placed in between them, as long as that building has a valid placement first. So in order to place this base core amplifier here, we're gonna have to build a temporary platform that will support the dimensions of this building, the 2x2 platform, before we can get these side pillars to support it. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're gonna need to go 5 units above this bottom base core amplifier. So we're going to place a supported platform here. We're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll place this here, copy our amplifier, and now we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can place this here because it's supported by this pillar. And as soon as it's placed, we get these wedges here into these 4 existing pillars. So now this base core amplifier is being supported by these adjacent pillars, so we can get rid of this temporary pillar, and now it's supported. So we're gonna have to go up from this point. It switches to actually 4 units of height. Even though the first one was 5 above, this one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason for that is this base core amplifier, when it's in contact with the ground or close enough to the ground to have its own pillars. So if we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the normal height that we're allowed to build another base core amplifier, this actually has its own pillars, as you can see here, which will exist in the same space as our first base core amplifier here, so it will not allow us to place it because it's going to want, at that height, it's going to want to use its own pillars, and it's saying there's something in the way of my pillars. So So we have to go up a 5th level in order to get it to stop trying to place its own pillars. So then we place our second one, and then from any point beyond there, we can place another one at a height difference of 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 5 and 4. So now we're going to need a temporary pillar at a height of 9, which is 6 plus 3. So we'll place our supported platform at 1, 2, 3. We'll place a regular pillar, which is a height of 6. We'll place a platform on top of that. Copy our base core amplifier, and now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We can place that. This is now anchored into these side pillars, so we can delete our temporary pillar. So now we've got 5 and 8, which is, what, 13? So we'll do 13 is 12 plus 1, so we'll do 1 off the ground, 1. Then 2 pillars, that's 7, that's 13. Platform on top of that. Copy our base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one. 13 and 4 is 17, which will be 12 plus 5. So we'll come back down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 pillars for 12. Another platform. Copy our base core amplifier. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one. Now we're at 17 plus 4 is 21, which will be 18 plus 3. So we'll go to the bottom. 1, 2, 3. 3 pillars for 18. Platform on top. Amplifier. 1, 2, 3, 4. Aha, so now we've hit the height where we're going to need multiple pillars to support this. So I believe at this height we actually have 2 adjacent tiles of support. So we have this tile, and this tile, and this tile, and this tile. So we have 2 out from this location here. We don't have this back corner, which, don't let this green fool you. This is actually showing green because it's supported by these side tiles here. But from the perspective of this tile here, we have 1, 2, and 1, 2. We don't have support from this back pillar here. What we'll have to do is build a second pillar of the same height directly next to it. So we'll copy this, go here, pillars, 1, 2, 3, place a platform on top, copy our base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we go. So now we have 2 tiles of support directly in front of each of these pillar supports, which fills up the whole footprint of our base core amplifier. So now we should be at, what, 25? So that's going to be 24 plus 1. So we'll go up 1. We're going to need to do this, a second pillar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Platform, platform, base core, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we're going to need another set of these in the back. So we'll do the same thing in the back here. We'll go up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Platform, platform, base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Delete these pillars. There we go. And finally, 25 plus 4, we'll have 29, which is 24 plus 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lock our Z. Place our pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place our platforms. Place our base core. And there we go. We'll get rid of these top platforms here. And we'll just get rid of the bottom pillar supports. Take out the whole stack. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 base core amplifiers stacked on top of each other. And I'm pretty sure that'll be the maximum that we can do, because again, once we go past this vertical level here, we no longer have an adjacent tile of support, so we can't support anything in between these pillars. So 8 should be the maximum, which puts us way over our target of 1041, but luck should never hurt. So now let's turn our attention to, let's say, setting up our electronics factory. But before we can do that, I'm going to need to get a hold of the blueprint for electronics, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look. Furnace. Correct, electronics. So I think the electronics blueprint is actually not too far from here. I look on the map here. I want to say it's maybe this diamond right here. Uh-oh.
Activity. Prepare for a wave.
Well, I guess I'll have to find out after this rupture, so I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, let's go collect our blueprint here, and fortunately I've already set up a zip line to the area that I want to build our new factory in today, and it just so happens to pass exactly over the location of the blueprint for circuits, electronics. We're going to ride this to our junction right here, hop onto our branch path. This is going to run right over this valley. And here's where we're going. So I'm going to hop off here. 1, 2, dash. Get rid of our fall damage. And then right in this building around here, since it's the only building I see, should be, here we go, a blueprint box containing electronics blueprints and some more bonds and rotor, which we already have. Whatever is in here. Some Nutrigel, sure. And some lore from Wentworth Connolly to Jules Dawn. Hey, I was looking through the paperwork on facilities currently on Arcadia, and I noticed, you won't believe it, that you're on the list. What's up? We haven't seen each other in quite a few years. I'm so happy you decided to make some extra money and came all the way out here. I really hope you'll make enough to return the 60,000 UC you owe your friend. You know what's interesting about our engine? It releases atmospheric compounds with such precision that I could change the composition of the atmosphere in one small area and then flood it with ionizing cosmic radiation. Of course, we're not allowed to do that, but there's a high probability that a person could be in the area and we destroy their sleeve, maybe even their disc too. But if I did want to have some fun, I have this one hypothetical area. I've attached its coordinates along with my bank account number. We should meet up. Hugs, Wentworth Connolly. So are you suggesting a hit using the Forgotten engines? Bring your mark into a very specific area and then melt them with ionizing radiation? Alright, let me get back up this way. We'll head back to base and let's get to work on our factory. Okay, let's take a look at what we're going to need to unlock this recipe now that we have the blueprint. So electronics, we're going to need 600 synthetic silicon, 200 inductors, and 200 stators. Now we have manufacturing online for silicon and inductors. I don't think we have anything producing stators yet, but we can slap this onto the end of our intermediate building material line just to pump out the 200 stators needed for this unlock, and then we can get some actual stator manufacturing into our factory for producing electronics. So let me grab silicon and inductors, and then we'll look at getting hold of some stators. Okay, let's turn in our silicon and our inductors here. 600, 200. Now we're going to set up a factory for stators, which should, if I'm remembering correctly, be titanium housings and wolfram wire, which should be on our original line here. We've got some wolfram wire here. We've got some titanium housings here. So we'll pipe these into a temporary factory, or I guess a temporary fabricator here. That's going to pump out 200 stators for us, just enough to unlock that recipe for electronics. And then we'll go build an actual factory. Wolfram wire. Titanium housings. Wired up. Give me stators. We'll pump these into a storage depot V1. We'll wait just a minute. And 200. Perfect. Okay, let's get rid of this. I did add a second fabricator here just to speed things along. Auto-saving. Perfect. Okay, time to turn in. Furnace. Electronics. Stators. Blueprint. Data points. And we got it. And hardening agents, super magnets, we'll have to wait. So let's go get our factory set up. So I scoped out some locations for our electronics factory, and I found a nice flat open area just to the north of our chemical base over towards another one of the forgotten engines there in the distance. So we're going to take our little side channel here that we took to go get our electronics blueprint. We're going to ride this right over to this flat plateau right here. There we go. And we have, it's a little bit rocky, but it's nice and open and mostly flat, so we shouldn't really have any issues dealing with elevation changes and having to use lots of platforms here. But let me clear out the locals and we can get to building. Looking over here in Rupture Planner for our RTSC generator build, it looks like we're going to need a mere 87 electronics per minute, so not bad at all and can be easily done in 8 furnaces. So if I switch our plan to electronics, and we want to build 96, so we'll produce the full output of 8 furnaces. It looks like none of our intermediate productions here is going to require more than 480 items per minute, which means that we can actually squeeze this entire production chain onto a main bus style system. That may be the quickest way to get through all of these middle bits to get to producing electronics as fast as possible. So I think we'll go that route. We can obviously chop out the smelter since we're already smelting all these materials in our smelting basin, so we can hop straight to our fabricator tier. And even in our intermediary parts here, it looks like some of this is already covered. So we already have titanium rod production set up. We already have titanium sheet production set up. Beams and powder we'll have to do. Helium will come from an extractor directly, and we do have some synth silicon available, so I may look into stealing some of that, since we're not going to need as much as we're actually producing for our chemical build once we get access to furnace V2s. So inductors we'll have to set up, and stators we'll have to set up. So this is actually going to be even simpler than it looks here, since some of this is already online elsewhere. But I guess we'll start at the very beginning with calcite sheets, 3 fabricators. So let's hop back in. And we'll probably start right here, and then we'll build our factory looking in this direction, going this way. So we're making calcite sheets. I don't think there's a V2 recipe for calcite sheets, so we'll just have to do a basic set of fabricators here. So let's find... Some of these we're going to need to do pretty deep, so we're going to want to keep our actual bus part of the main bus system as far away from this mountain as possible. Yeah, we probably should start with a base core. That might help. Put this here for now. See if we have to change it later. So we'll do fabricators. We'll start here. 1, 2, and 3. Now, we'll do our input rail connectors here. Here and here. And I think we'll do our buffer in the back again, just to save as much space as possible. So we'll do lock our Z, place this here. As for actually collecting all of these into our buffer and sending them back forward again, we're going to have to change our technique a bit, because we're doing more than 2 buildings, which means they're going to exceed the capacity of a multi-rail 3. And because our original layout for intermediate building materials relied on us only having a couple of fabricators each, so we could do 1 into here, 1 into here, and then we could modulate these at the end into our facility. But since we have a 3rd now, what we're going to have to do is, instead of doing multi-rails, we're going to have to just do regular rail connectors. And then we're going to have to spend 1 tile width, an extra tile on the end here, bringing our output rail back to the beginning of the line. So we'll do out like this, bring this back, out, back, out, into our buffer, out of our buffer, and then back forward again. Like that. So we're saving ourselves 1 tile width by buffering in the back instead of the front, because a regular storage depot, if we were to put this here, and then bring all of our output forward again, we'll have to have, obviously, an extra tile of width here. So we're saving ourselves some room by doing it this way. Not very much, but, you know, every 4 items or so, we'll be saving ourselves an entire stack. So we'll do it that way, and we'll squeeze as much as we can into this space here. So let me wire up our input. It's going to require a rail connector here. Output. In. There we go. So this is all done, and these are going to be producing calcite sheets. Calcite sheets. Oh, it's a butterfly. That was the legs of another player. I was like, what is happening? Calcite sheets. We'll set this to calcite sheets, and we're going to need... Well, let's figure out where our bus is going to go, and then we'll get our cargo receivers in here. So we're going to want, instead of multi-rails, running this way. So let me just refresh my memory here. We are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 individual items running along this bus. So we're going to need 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Should cover all of our individual items. So that'll be the width of our bus here, 6 wide. And our next stop will be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our pillars for our second level will go here and here. And we'll do this to the left and right of every fabricator. Like so. We'll put a pillar on each. No, a couple of pillars on each. Here we go. Platforms. And before we get on to our second level, let's start at the beginning here with our calcium blocks, which you're going to have to bring in via drone receiver or cargo receiver. So our cargo receivers will be able to stack up here. So let's start here. We'll bring this out into, say, a rail connector here. And this can go onto our very first line here. Then we'll take this off of our main bus. We'll go down 1. We'll bring calcium blocks down and up again. Completely unnecessary. We could just loop this right in, but just for consistency, this is the way we're going to bring down all of our different items here. We'll do it like this, and then we'll bring this forward again, even though I don't think we'll actually need to use this anywhere forward from here. But now we should be good once I get some power into this. We're going to call this guy C block RX6. C block RX6. We'll connect you to TX6. Let's get some power in here. And we'll probably end up doing what we did elsewhere with power, where we put a separate power base. But just to get things started here, I'm going to put... Oh yeah, we have to put this somewhere where starlight is not obstructed. Say along this cliff line here. We'll start with 4. Extend this walkway to here. We'll get that online. And there they go. We're fabricating calcite sheets. We're collecting calcite sheets. So our first 3 rails here are going to be for calcite sheets, for titanium bars, and for wolfram bars. So we'll bring our calcite sheets in on pole 2, rail 1 here. So we'll go down. 1 should be enough. We need a rail support. Down 1 here. Bring this under our bus. Just like that. and up onto rail 1. Okay, before we move on to titanium rods and titanium sheets, we need to set up some dispatchers for these. So I'm here at our titanium rod factory. We're going to set up a cargo dispatcher, or maybe a line of cargo dispatchers. So we have, there should be 480, if I remember correctly, coming into each one of these. So these are 4 every 2 seconds, which is 120 per minute. So every 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, should be 480 out. That's correct. That means each one of these will be hooked up to a single cargo dispatcher. So we'll put a cargo dispatcher right here in between each row. 1, 2, wherever we can fit them given the extreme elevation changes here. Sure. Rail V3 output into each of our dispatchers. And at some point we'll have to figure out, we'll have to get a second level set on these, but for right now, 3 is more than enough. So we're going to call these Titanium Rod TX1, except titanium rods. Titanium Rod TX2, titanium rods. And titanium rod TX3. Titanium rods. Okay, that's good for rods. Let's go do sheets. Okay, so we have our storage depot V2s that are holding our titanium sheets here. I'm running the output into a series of multi-rails underneath here, one for each of the outputs, and then we're lane shifting these on the third one out to the right one because this rail right here cannot actually reach over to this third slot here. It's not a valid placement, so I just rail shifted or lane shifted the first 2 over to the right one so that this last one can come into the first slot here. So now we have all of our storage depots here on this multi-rail. Now, because of the way that I want to unwind these rails when we get to the cargo dispatchers, I'm actually going to lane shift these back again. If I lock my Z here, I'm going to place another multi-rail 1 tile away. And we're going to, basically I want, because these are not all built equal, this storage depot has 480 items per minute coming into it. This one has 480 coming into it, but this one only has 240. So I'm going to want to unwind the 480s first, but currently with the way these are wired up because of this lane shift here, the very first rail on our left here is actually our 240. So I want this 240 rail to be back on the right-hand side so that it comes off of this last. So we're just going to take advantage of a little clipping error here. We're going to send our left, well, I guess if we're looking at it from the direction that the rails are actually traveling, we're going to send our rightmost rail in one. We're going to send our middle rail to the left one. And then we're going to send our leftmost rail, which is our 240 rail, over to the right. And for whatever reason, you're allowed to clip through like this, so this will just reverse the order. Lane shift so that our half rail is on the farthest side away from where we're going to be unwinding these into our cargo dispatchers. And then we're going to send these, because of the amount of space I need, we're going to send this over this line here. Or I suppose we could do it under. Let's see, if I lock this here. Yeah, we'll do this under. So we'll bring this up as high as we can. Looks like right there. And we'll bring all of our rails through. And we'll do our dispatching on the far side of this because this isn't enough space here before we hit this perpendicular rail. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a temporary storage depot here. And then a cargo dispatcher here and here. And we've exceeded our power budget here, but the idea is, because of the item calculations that we covered in a previous video, we basically want each one of these cargo dispatchers to have a full 480 items worth of speed coming in, right? Because if we take, again, just to go over this really quickly, if we take one of these 480 item rails, we'll run this way. If we take one of these 480 item rails and bring this into a connector, and I split this two ways, one goes to one dispatcher and one goes to the other dispatcher, even though this source rail still only has 480 items coming into it, we are splitting this at this connector 240 and 240. However, because the dispatchers are at a set time interval, we're going from being able to deliver an entire stack of items in 12.5 seconds to, on each one of these output rails, only being able to deliver a full stack of items in 25 seconds, which exceeds the dispatch interval of our dispatchers. So we won't actually be able to get a full stack of items into each of these dispatchers if we use a rail connector like this. However, if we run our line into a storage depot, each one of these outputs from the storage depot can have up to 480 items per minute at a rail velocity of 480 items per minute. So if I split the two outputs of this into two of these rails here, even though we're only getting 480 items in as far as actual item throughput, we'll be delivering 240 items and 240 items out on each of these rails at a velocity or an item per minute count of 480 items per minute. So we're delivering a smaller number of items at a faster rate of speed, which is important for getting a full stack of items. Auto-saving. Which is important for getting a full stack of items into these dispatchers before they dispatch. We'll do something like that. We'll set this to titanium sheets. We'll set these to dispatch titanium sheets. We'll call this T-sheet TX1 and T-sheet TX2. And so we'll have both of these connected to a pair of receivers on our electronics manufacturing line, and they'll combine together on the output side, on the cargo receiver side, to 480 items per minute between the two of them. But as long as they're fully saturating a V3 rail, that's what we're going to need in order to feed the 432 items per minute that we're going to need into our electronics manufacturing. So let me put some more power onto this, and then we'll get back over to our electronics factory. Okay, so I believe we already have this set to C block. So this is going to be titanium rods up top here. We're only going to need one of these. So this is T-Rod RX1 connected to T-Rod TX1. Then I'll bring those in onto pole 2, rail 2. Now we're going to need titanium sheets, which we'll put adjacent to this. Let's put cargo receivers. Let's match our height here. Getting a little out of control with the rocks. This will go here. And then we can do one behind this, like so. Well, I'll need to go back an additional one here. However, we can squeeze this in here. Back an additional, because we'll need to put a rail connector in here. Right here. And right here. We'll join these together. And then we'll bring these... I guess we can just go straight into here. Because this is going to be in the way, and I don't think we're going to need any more cargo receivers. So we'll bring these forward. And if we do, cargo receivers are 1, 2, 3, 4 wide, and our stacks are 1, 2, 3, 4 wide. So if we have to, we can put more cargo receivers actually in line with our stacks. But this should be all of our materials here at the beginning of the line. So we'll set these to titanium sheet RX1 connected to TX1 and titanium sheet RX2 connected to TX2 There we go. So now we have 3 materials on our line. Alright, so let's flip back to our planner here. So we've got calcite sheets, we've got titanium rods, we've got titanium sheets. Next is going to be titanium beams. Oh, I was wrong. We do actually need to fly in titanium bars and wolfram bars here. So we need 2 more receivers here. There's going to be, what, 128 items per minute. Make sure this is on the screen here. My window's slightly larger than the capture window. And then we're going to need 120 items per minute here. So we just need a single receiver for both of these bars here. We'll switch back to the game. We're going to set up another stack on our receivers. We'll grab a pillar support. Cap these off with platforms. Cargo receiver right here. We'll set this one up for titanium bars. This will be T-bar RX11. T-bar RX11. We'll hook this right here into rail 2. Send this forward. Beg pardon. What are we colliding with? Probably this. Let's see. Can I send this forward now? Yep, okay. So we'll just put another singular rail support right here. We'll bring this down and then back up again, like so. And then we should be able to do this forward as well. Perfect. Okay, so here's our titanium bars coming in, and we'll need just one more for wolfram bars at this height. That height, but back one. Right there. Rail into, we need this to go to here. So that's going to be in the way of that. So let's just go under. A little bit messy here. There we go. Okay, we'll set this up as... we find out what our available RX is. RX5. So, Wolfram Bar RX5. Okay, I did miss this bit. So because we pushed our rightmost set of pillars out one, we're actually going to need a little bit more pillar support in here to fit our fabricators, our second row of fabricators on here. So instead of just having a pillar support in the front, I'm also going to put a second set of pillar supports in the back of each one of these fabricators. Like this. Looks right, yep. We'll do the same on this side, but pushed out once. My Z is not locked, so we'll do here and here, and also here. Pillar supports. Up, up. Like so. Cap these off. Oh. Not that we don't need that one, but more importantly, what we're going to need to do is send these rightmost pillars out one, just like that. I don't know if I need all these. Let's see, how many fabricators are we going to need for titanium beams? We're going to need 4 of these, actually. Okay, so we're going to need all of them, plus a little more. That's fine. So let's get our fabricators out. Set our direction. Bring this up. Place 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to need some pillar supports back here for our 4th. So let's set our pillar height here, and we're going to need these 1, 2, and I think the other locations are going to be well, maybe this one. No, the pillar goes here. So yeah, the other ones are not going to need a base supported platform like this. So we're going to do 1, 2. Make sure that height is correct. It looks like it. 1, 2. And then we're going to set our height to here. Bring this over to this side and we'll do 1, 1, 2, 2. Cap these off. Just like that. We'll bring these out 1. And now we should have support for our 4th fabricator here. And this rolls back as we go further to the right, so this should only be an issue for this first stack here. So we'll bring this up to here. Like so. Now we can place our rail connectors. Lock our Z. We're going to need one in front of each of these machines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Collect on the output. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to want a storage depot here in the back. We'll put a pillar down here and here. That should be at the right height to place our storage depot right here. So let's wire this up. In, send it back. And then output, out, send it back. Out. Then we're gonna go into our storage depot. We're gonna set up a rail support to go back out. And I guess we don't need quite as many as we did down below. We just need one here at the very end to send these. Can we put this here without breaking this fabricator? We can. Perfect. Okay. We just need 2 of these to send this out and then all the way back forward again. And then we're going to need a pillar on this side here, which is currently being taken up by this walkway. Support a platform, lock our Z, place, pillar, pillar, platform. Let's restore our extendable walkway for power, which we'll have to do something about because pretty soon we're going to exceed the capacity of our 4 solar panels that we have here. And then we're going to send this line back across on a rail support to here. Loop this down to here, down 1. Bring this back over to here, down 1. Whoop, I hate that. That happens so often. One little micro movement of your hand at the last second. And you're off in the woods. Okay, so there. There is pole 3, rail 1, which is going to be titanium beams. So let's get up top here. Titanium beams. 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 And beams. Rail connector. We need to get our input of titanium sheets, which we put, I believe these are titanium sheets. These are, or not sheets, but bars, sorry. Titanium bars, wolfram bars. So our titanium bars come into rail 2. So we will intersect this. I guess we'll also need to do something about this because this is going to be in our way. So let's delete this for now. Put our rail connector here. for titanium bars. We'll send this to the right. I'm just going to go into a rail support right here. Down one. Up one. Going to come up like this. Across to here. And then we'll send this all the way to the right. And I guess since this is the only place that we're using calcite, I guess what I said we weren't going to do originally, we are going to do. I'm just going to split this off immediately. I don't think, let me double check here. I don't think, oh they do. We need calcium powder. Okay, never mind. Hey guys, Editing Genji here. So I messed up and I forgot to close the web browser window and it covered up the next 2 to 3 minutes of video. So I'm going to quickly summarize our rail solution for getting both our calcium blocks and our titanium bars settled here, because we do actually end up needing the calcium blocks further on to make calcium powder. So we kept the original rail connector here. This is just splitting off calcium blocks into a rail connector and then feeding back up into our fabricators as usual. But I did replace this singular rail support with a multi-rail support. So now we're breaking off our titanium bars into a second rail connector, which is then feeding to the right and going up to our second level of manufacturing, and then also going forward through this multi-rail support. And both of these calcium blocks and titanium bars are coming up into our bus and then moving forward again. So I'll get you back to past me. Okay, let's move on to our second stack here. So we're gonna need 48. Let's take a look at our planner here. We're gonna need 48 wolfram bars per minute to produce 144 wolfram powder in 2 furnaces. So let's flip back. Let's grab a furnace. Set this to level. Place 1. Place 2. Rail connector. 1 here. 1 here. 1 here. And then a rail support up front to bring everything back forward. Auto-saving. Wire these up. Send it back. Rail in. Rail out. That's also going to be sent back, right? Because we're buffering in the back. And then a storage depot right here. Rail V3. In here. 1 rail support back out. And this rail support actually doesn't go here. It goes next to it. So we'll bring this back forward again. All the way out. There we go. And then our wolfram bars we already have on our line. So we'll put a single rail connector here. Down 1. Wolfram bars should be on rail 3. We'll bring this down. Up. We'll set up our bus rails here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a dead guy here. Let me loot him before I cover him up forever. Dead guy. Get some Doritos, some shotguns, and a scanner. Multi-rail. Nothing ever went wrong from building over a bunch of corpses, right? Certainly hasn't been an entire genre of movies about that very thing. We'll bring all of our rails forward here. You come from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we know our new material here, our titanium beams, are going to go here on 8. Just going to need to bring these down 1, over, and then up. We can put our pillars for our second stack here, our second row. Lock our Z. It's going to go right here. 1. Well, I guess we don't really know the spacing on the pillars, so we know what's going to be up there, because if it's furnaces, it's going to be here. But if it's fabricators, it's going to be here. So we'll hold off on that for right now. We'll just use this one for now. Ported platform. Lock our Z. We'll do this side. 1, 2. Platform. Now, let's set these to Wolfram Powder. Wolfram Powder. And Wolfram Powder. Here comes our bars. Furnaces are running. There goes our output. And we're run back to our bus line. Perfect. So, Wolfram Powder is set. Next up is, that's everything on tier 1. Tier 2 is going to be calcium powder. So we are going to need furnace spacing for our pillars. Which is fine, it's nice and convenient. It'll match the spacing that we have for the bottom row. So we'll put, lock our Z in here, 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 and here. Pillars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Platforms. 1, 2, 3. Space these out by 1. Furnace. Perfect. And how many of these do we need? We need 4 of these. So there's 1, there's 2. We're gonna need some more pillars for 3 and 4. Bring these out by 1, 1, 1, and 1. And then we need a pillar. Lock our Z right here and here. Platform like so, right? That looks right. Furnaces facing this way. Lock our Z. Here's 3 and 4. And I'm a bit out of range here, so I need to move back to get our storage depot on the end here. Storage depot. We're gonna need pillars. Well, a single pillar. Say right here, actually. We need a gap in here for our rail connector. Just like that. Storage depot. We'll go right here. We'll get our rail connectors. Ready to go. Right here in the front. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Outputs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the output of our output we'll do right here. For some reason we put this back 1. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. Wire up our rails. So we're gonna have input. Send it back. Input. Send it back. Output. Send it back. Loop this into our buffer. Loop this out of our buffer. Send this all the way forward. There we go. So, let's give this man some water
Dehydrated.
gel. Not exactly sure how that works. Drinking out of a petri dish. We'll set our recipes for calcium powder this time. Buffering calcium powder. And our input is going to be... of course, we've already used rail 1 here, so we'll have to rewire this a bit. So instead of going wolfram bars into here, we'll do... move this forward 1. Bring this down. We'll do our wolfram bars into here. And then we'll need our calcium blocks into here. And we do a rail support here. Bring this down one. We can bring this to the left. Like so. We'll place our rail support down one. Oh. Up one. Do the same thing over here. Down one. Up one. So we need to get this guy all the way over to the right here. So we'll put a rail connector right here. Lower one. Bring this to the right. Into here. Up to here. Send it across. Our output will bring back to the right.
I'm detecting increased rupture activity.
Down to here. And then we're going to need to bring that right here. Down one. Into here. And then up to here. There we go. So there's 3 full rails. We're halfway done. We do need to bring these 2 back forward again. So we'll do... Well... Calcium blocks don't need to go forward again. That was our last stop for calcium blocks, but I believe we use Wolfram bars again. The Wolfram bars are going to have to go below this line. Down to here. And back up to here, just like that. Perfect. So we'll fill this in once the rupture is over, but I'm going to build a quick habitat and hide from the sun. So we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, next up, we're going to need some helium-3, only 96 per minute, so a single dispatcher-receiver combo will suffice. Let's go find an unused helium-3 node where we can set that up. Okay, looks like we have one more node available right here to the north of our chemical and our electronics base here. So right up here, these 4 nodes here. We already have 3 of these tapped for chemicals. We're going to tap this one for electronics. We'll face this in this direction. And we'll just run this directly into a storage depot here. And then this is going to be 240. So I'll run this directly into a single cargo dispatcher here. You to you. You to you. And I need to get power over here as well. So we'll just do a little something like this. Rail support here. Rail support here. I don't think those will go directly, so I'll do another rail support here. Just like that. That's not what I meant, but whatever, it works. The rail is not for use, it's just for power, so we'll set this to helium-3. We'll set this to helium-3, and I don't know what number this is going to be. Let's see. In use, we're up to RX4, RX5. This will be RX6. Sorry, this will be TX6. So, HE3, TX6. Is that right? Seems to be correct. Okay. Also, before the rupture finishes and all of this sulfur gas comes back, I'm going to slap a few sulfur extractors onto these nearby sulfur nodes here. I don't know what direction to run them in, but it doesn't really matter. We'll make the rails do what the rails need to do. I guess we're only going to do 3 because I don't have enough resources, and they'll be gassed again by the time we get back, but this should be enough just to get us some temporary sulfuric acid for later. Okay. Let's get our helium onto our line here. So we're going to do a cargo receiver right here, up front. We'll set this to available HE3, RX6. We need to get another set of bus rails on here. Just going to go, what are we doing here? A space of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, space of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so it'll just be right here. Starting here. Let's lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll bring our existing rails forward, except for number 1, because calcium blocks are done. There we go. And now our new rail is going to be hole 4, rail 1. Bring this into the rail connector here. Bring it down 1. Out. Across. Up. And that's all that needs to be done there, right? Let's just make sure we have helium in here. Perfect. Okay. We're using not very much helium there, so I don't think we're gonna need to buffer that in any way. And then our next item is going to be tubes. And tubes are gonna take titanium rods and titanium sheets. So we need 2 fabricators for that. Fabricators. We do have an alternative recipe for tube, but I think the alternative recipe for tube requires goethite. Let me double check. Yeah. And I'm gonna try, goethite is already like ingrained in my brain, but I believe the proper pronunciation of this is something more akin to goethite, not goethite, so I will try. I'll do my best to try to pronounce this properly. It's gonna take me a few times to replace my muscle memory. So we'll do fabricators here, regular tubes. We're going to need our pillars for this. Lock our Z. So we have a spacing of 2, because fabricators are 3 by 3, right? So then we'll skip 1, do this, and then we're gonna need matching pillars here, here, and here. Bring our pillars up. Platforms. More platforms. Actually, we need to bring this across by 1. Colliding. I'm like 98% sure. Is it up by 3 for cargo dispatchers? No. Why would that be colliding? We can place a whole nother receiver here. Why would that be colliding? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we'll just do that. And then fabricator facing this direction. 1 here. 1 here, and then we're gonna need 1 pillar here for our buffer depot. Platform. Let's see. Will this be enough support? Do I have to bring, It is. But only if we put a rail connector in. There we go. Now, connect up our rails. We'll place our rail connectors. 1, 2, 1, 2. In, send it back. Out, send it back. That's not, I mean, it's fine, but I like things to be consistent. There we go. Then into our buffer. Back out of our buffer. All the way to here. There we go. Platform here. Pillar, pillar. Platform. Then let's get our rail supports. We're gonna need to send something up. We're gonna need to bring something down. Up 1. like so. So we'll loop this up and across. Loop this back and down. Put a rail connector here, down one. We'll send these to rail 2. And then we need to get our inputs in here. So we've already done helium here, so we're wide open here. We're producing tubes in here, which is sheets and rods, which we brought into... It should be rails 2 and 3 on pull 2 here. So we need to interrupt this and this. We'll bring both of these into a rail connector. So since this is our first 2-item construction, we're gonna have to start doing our secondary bus here. So we're gonna do 2 rail connectors like this, and then we're gonna do 2 rail connectors like this, I suppose. Doesn't really matter as long as it's lower. Oops, too close. So we'll do 1 into here, 1 into here, and then we'll loop these down like this. Send these to the right. And again, the reason that we do this is because once we send these back up again, we don't want rods to be able to hop onto the forward rail for sheets and vice versa. So if we were to run these both into a single set of connectors, right? I've explained this a few times, but just in case this is your first time, I'll do an example here. If we were to do this, send this down into here, send this down into here, and then send these both this way, what would happen is when we send these back forward again, say this is titanium rods, I forget, it should be rods and then sheets. So titanium rods come in here, they're going to move to the right, right? Titanium sheets come in here, they're going to move to the right so they can go upstairs. If once we send these back forward again, titanium rods will be able to come in on rail 2, hit this connector, come over to this connector, and then come back up again onto the rail for sheets. So that'll be cross-contaminating this rail and making rods available on the rail for sheets. So we don't want to cross-contaminate items. So by using this secondary bus in the back here, where we bring these into here and into here, we wrap these around and then send them to the right. This acts as a one-way gate, so our rods come into this connector, they loop down into this connector, they go to the right. Once they hit this connector, they can't go back up onto the rail for sheets because this rail here where the sheets are coming in is a one-way rail. So this acts as a gate or a diode so that our rods can't rail hop back up and then continue forward again. So all of this will send this to the right and then back upstairs again. So this should be all we need for this stack here. We're going to set our recipes and our buffer, and then we'll fill in these gaps, and then we'll be ready for the next row. And tubes. I see things moving. Here come our sheets. Here come our rods. We're fabricating. We're making tubes. Tubes are going back. There we go. Our line comes forward and then hops back on to pull 4 here. So everything is brought forward already, so all we have to do is plug up our floor with extendable walkways. Like so. Okay, moving on. So now we've got calcium powder, helium-3 tubes. We now need ceramics, which is going to be calcite sheets and wolfram powder. And that's going to be in 5 furnaces. We're gonna need a lot of these. So let's take a look. Hopefully we'll have enough depth, otherwise we'll just have to do 2 stacks. But if we go this direction here, set our Z here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have just enough room here. Rail connector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We officially run out of power. We'll worry about that in just a minute. Wire up our inputs. In, send it back. Out, send it back. There we go. I'm a bit too far away, so let me move up here and we'll do our buffer. Storage depot. Right here. Input. Rail support. This level, right? I'm gonna put one kind of in the middle here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to reach that whole rail forward to here again. Then we'll do rail out. All the way to here. We'll set up our bus 5 and 6. Let's come back forward again. Our next available rail is pole 4, rail 3. So we're gonna go to here, drop this by 1, bring this down 1, across, and up, like that. And then to actually make these ceramics, we need calcite sheets and wolfram powder. So we're gonna need pole 2, rail 1, like this. And we are gonna need to do, because this is a 2-item recipe, we're gonna need to send this forward 1 to here, down 1. And then we're gonna need pole 3, rail 2. We'll bring these down, down, and then 1 rail support here to bring these back up again. So, pole 2, rail 1 should be our calcite sheets. Bring these into here. Swing these around from the right-hand side so they can go to the left. And then on pole 3, we need rail 2. Swing these around. Auto-saving. Send these to the left. Up. And we slap down another few solar panels here. Okay, that should be everything we need for ceramics. There's powder. There's sheets. There we go. Okay. Let's set our recipes here. Ceramics. And we'll set our buffer to ceramics. And there we go. Okay. So, next up, after ceramics is titanium housing. So we're going to need 7 furnaces for titanium housings. So what I might do, I'll take a look, but I might swap wolfram wire and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have enough room for... Well, if we're doing up top, yeah, that may work. So let's see if we can squeeze titanium housings. Let's see if we can squeeze 7 furnaces along the top here. It might be slightly easier to do on a second row instead of the first because it does give us a little bit more room since the mountain is kind of sloped, so we'll have some extra horizontal space there as we go backwards. So we'll place... Lock our Z1 to... Actually, I'm going to move forward quite a bit. I'm way out here. I need to get like right in the middle here. Alright, so we're going to lock our Z. We're going to do 1, 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to go up. So we'll set our pillar height to here. Lock our Z. One supported platform there. Try this again. 1, 2, 1. And then 1... Ooh, it's gonna be really tight. We'll see. We'll bring this up to here. We might just have it, so I'm gonna put this right here. So we're gonna go back 1, 2, 1. And we'll see. Let's see, in fact, I should be able to try this right here. So if I can fit this furnace in right here, we have just enough space for 7 furnaces. All right, so pillar supports. Furnaces. Locker Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can light. Oh, right. That storage depot runs up 1, doesn't it? Uh-oh. Where can we move that to? Can we move this to the right 1? So that it can go down? Yeah, let's place our furnace first. And then we'll figure out what we can do with that. 6, and then our 7th goes right there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Absolutely ridiculous. Our storage depot. Issue. That might work. So we'll bring this rail straight into here. We'll bring this output into here, and then we'll put this rail support here. Bring this out. Send this forward. There we go. Now that squeezes down there. We'll set this to ceramics after I put all these in here. There we go. Okay, let's wire up our furnaces. Oh my gosh, you can fit one back here. Sure. So we'll do it like that. Now, what I think I might try to do, because of how many fabricators we need here, we aren't individually exceeding 480, right? We need like 380 for one material and like 190 for the other material, but together, those exceed 480. So what I might try to do is, let me see if I can even get this up here first before I start to worry about how we're going to wire this. So if I put a pillar support here, and I bring this up to here, what I want to try to do is bring 2 rails up here. So we're going to do a multi-rail 3, kind of the same way we did in Season 1. So we'll bring this down 1. And bring this up 1. We're going to connect 2 rails here. Say this one and this one. And then I'm going to bring 1. Let's actually use the inside lane here. That way it'll be straighter. So we'll do the inside lane to our first set of rail connectors, and then this will run back and connect in here, and this will run back and connect in here. And then our second set of connectors will go slightly in front and to the left of these, so I'll need a platform here. I'll need a rail connector here, and then the same thing here, and the same thing here. Let's see if this is going to work. So we'll bring this connector to here. Yep, I actually need to bring this down. Oopsie. So this needs to come down 1. Right, and then one here. So this will come across to here. And then loop up into here. Perfect. So we'll send this back. Send this up into here. Send this back. And there we go. Now we have two separate feeds, each with their own 480 item bandwidth or throughput. So we need to get those hooked up to our input items down here. So let me check our recipe. Titanium housings are titanium beams and titanium sheets. All right, let's see if we can make this work. So we need pole 2, rail 3. It's just not going to work unless I do it like that. I don't care for that particularly. And then we also need pole 3, rail 1. Which is also going to be in the way, but it's also going to work from that side, so I guess it's going to be a little bit ugly.
Activity detected. I recommend finding a safe place.
Give me this. We're going to send it into here. Of course, that's not going to work, but that will. Whatever works. All right, then we're going to take these into a multi-rail and send these to the right. To here and to here, although I guess, well, no, because we want these to be in one rail here, but multi-rail works for this because we're sending these over here. So we're going to send these to here. That is not what I wanted. Doing this without the drone's kind of a pain. I want this to that. And I want you to you. I see my sheets. Where's my beams? Well, I'll figure that out as soon as this rupture passes, because I'm just about out of time here. Oh, what the heck did I do here? That would explain why the beams aren't coming. Let's fix that. Ah. I'm messing this one up royally. Alright, so this is gonna go to here. Ah, I hate that. So you're gonna go to here. You're gonna go to there. There we go. Now our beams are flowing. Up and over. Now we got green happy lights. We'll set this to titanium housings. There they come. Took them a while. Titanium housings and titanium housings. So we should have a whole bunch of materials flowing up here on their own separate lines. The thing we've been hoping for all of Season 1, and then we never got it. There we go. Beautiful. So they should all be operating at 100% efficiency. Nothing's getting overloaded. So we need to get this back onto the line here. So we're going to use some rail supports. Drop by 1. Oh. Raise by 1. Send this across. Send this down. And our next available line is right here. Here we go. Let's patch our floor and move on. Okay, after titanium housings, we're going to move on to 5 fabricators for wolfram wire. Should be fairly simple. Grab a fabricator. Before I do that, there is a wolfram wire recipe on V2s. Let me just take a look at what the recipe requires. I think it requires wolfram powder. No, it's just wolfram bars. So what does... Well, I don't think we'll be able to do it here. Let me see. Does this fit under the canopy? If not, 5 individual fabricators is not that big of a deal. If I put this here, will a line of platforms stretch across the top here? It will. Okay, so what does this recipe look like with Wolfram Wire V2 recipe? If we switch our alternative to Wolfram Wire V2, and we only need 2 of these, using 36 Wolfram bars per minute. Nice and simple. Okay, I think we'll do that then. So Wolfram Wire. We're going to squeeze a little bit of everything into this factory. Space this back 1. Oh, I'm out of building materials. I will need to run back to base in just a second here. We'll put as many of these... Oh, that's all we got. Okay. Let me go fill in my pockets and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Let's continue. So we're going to do rail connectors, storage depot here. Rail V3s. I put this the wrong way around. Like so. There we go. In, out, out, in, rail support. Send this all the way back to here. Just like so. And then we need to get Wolfram bars, which should be this line. Down 1. In and back out. Set this for Wolfram wire, and Wolfram wire.
Arcadia 7 has finished regenerating.
There we go. Okay, so 2 machines, nice and simple, and we should be able to put a second deck on top of this. But before we do that, let's put this back onto our bus, which we're going to need to continue. So rotate this, lock our Z. This is going to go right here. 1, 6. Supported platform. And our next available rail is right here on rail 2. Bring this down, bring it over, bring it up. Golden. So, for our next row, or our second row on this stack, we're going to need synthetic silicon in 4 furnaces, and for our inputs we're going to have 192 calcium powder, 96 helium, and 192 ceramics, which combined together equals exactly 480, so we can do all of this on a single rail. So 4 furnaces, 1 input rail. So now I should be able to place these furnaces. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, although after all that effort, I just remembered we already have our synthetic silicon factory set up right over there. We don't need any of these furnaces. We can just do a cargo receiver. Let me melt all this. Although we will need to set up a dispatcher. We'll set a cargo receiver here. We're only gonna need, let's take a look. We're gonna need 192 per minute. A small enough amount that we can get away with a single dispatcher receiver combo. So let's go back over to our synth silicon factory. We'll set up one transmitter. Okay, synth silicon is right here. So our inputs are coming into this side, our outputs are coming out of this side. We're already wrapping this around, which should be fine because we're kind of out of room to do dispatchers right here. But what we can do, we'll do a storage depot, match our Y here. We'll do a storage depot, let's say right here. And then we can do cargo dispatcher here and here. That's just enough room for that. So we'll take multi-rail support right here. Then we'll do this lane to here, pass this through. This will be a little bit cleaner. And then we'll take our middle lane to here. Multi-rail. Multi-rail. We're gonna send one here. Because this should be a full 480. Actually, let's bring this from here. And here. We'll pass this through to here. There we go. We'll set this to Synthelicon. We'll set you to SLCN, Silicon TX1, Synthelicon, SLCN TX2, Synthelicon. There we go. So each one of these should be getting 240. We don't need, let's see, we only need 192 on the output, so we only need one of these dispatchers. Okay, set up our cargo receiver here. This will be SLCN RX1. We're going to receive synthetic silicon, and we're going to spit this out. From here to here to here. Sure, that's fine. Okay, then bring all of our rails forward here. It's been a while since I brought these forward. There we go. So there's 5 of our 6 multi-rails filled. Let's fill in our floor, and we'll move on. Our planner says that next we're going to need inductors with, let's see, 48, 96, and 96 is way less than 480, so we'll be able to do this on a single rail. We will have to build this stack because we're not making inductors in a dispatchable format anywhere. So we're going to need 4 furnaces. Facing this way. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rail connectors. And then 1 here. A storage depot. Then a rail support to bring these back forward to here. Okay, let's wire up our inputs and our outputs. And out. And in. And there we go. Let's take a look at our recipe here. So for inductors, we're gonna need tubes, wire, and ceramic. So our tubes are on pole 4, rail 2. We'll bring this down 1. Bring this down to the bottom. Rail 2. We're gonna go in here, wrap this around to here. There's tubes. Ceramics is rail 3. So we'll repeat that here. Bring this down. Rail 3. Send this to the left, and then our copper wire, or our wolfram wire, is right here. So we'll do one more of these. That's this, right? Yeah, so rail 2 to here. Wrap this around. Send this to the left, and then all of this is going to go... Here we go. We'll bring all this to the left and up. Set our recipes here. Oh. Inductors. Inductors and inductors. I see output. This first machine here is being greedy, taking all the input, at least until the internal buffer fills up. We have stuff flowing. We have inductors heading out. Okay. I'm happy with that. So, let's bring our bus forward so I can figure out where these are going to go, what rail they're going to go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Our next available rail is rail 1 on pole 6. We've come to the end. Rail support down. Rail support across. Rail up. There we go. So, next up, we have stators. Stators are going to require 5 fabricators, pulling in titanium housing and wolfram wire, which is going to be slightly problematic because we have to split this wolfram wire 2 ways here, so we'll have to rewire our rail connectors a bit, but not a huge deal. So 5 fabricators. Let's get that set up on level 2. So these are going to be a 3x3 pattern. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, and 5. And then one more here for the storage depot. Platforms. There we go, and then fabricators. Although I just noticed stators do have a V2 recipe, so let's take a look. Stators, titanium housings, wolfram wire, and titanium sheet. So we do have all of those. So let's look at the alternative recipe in the planner. So if we set this to be stators, are producing 60 per minute instead of 20 per minute. With this, we need 32, 32, and 32, and we only need 2 fabricator V2s. So maybe we do that. Let's melt this. Let's come up here. Let's see. Can I, with the pillar support that I just built here, can I squeeze in a fab V2? There's 1. These go down. You need to be right here. There's 2. We're over our power budget, which is easily remedied. There we go. So, let me get up here. So we need housings, wire, and sheets. This can all be done on a single rail. So we'll do 1 rail connector. Storage depot. Inputs. Into there, and then we need a rail support to bring this back forward again to here, actually. We'll go from you to you, from you back to you. Need to set our buffer to collect stators, housings, wire, sheets. So titanium housings. What? I'm not exactly sure why our beams are broken. We have beams queued up on the output that are going into this storage depot, but it's not requesting any beams. So our storage depot is broken. There's a bug. Storage depot. You know what? B3, because it's on the top floor. What? What is this? You go into you. You go into you. You collect titanium. I don't know why all of this stuff is available here. Titanium beams. Huh. Well, whatever. Hopefully they're not all broken like that. So I don't suppose if I put a rail connector over here, I'll be able to get this line into here. I can actually. Okay, so there's our housings. So wolfram wire, we're gonna have to do like this. Wolfram wire is middle here. We're gonna take this back to here. And then we're gonna do a rail connector here. Spin this around this way. And then also into here. This will cascade down into the left, and then this can go to the right. So we need to bring this into here. And then we need titanium sheets. We'll bring this to here. Rail connector again. Sling this around this way. Send this to... Let me figure out what the heck is going on here again. Oh, this needs a second. This needs one of these. That's more like it. Send you this way, you go up into here, and then we'll send a rail support up. Hopefully. If we can get it from here into here. And then up to here. And then over to here. There's our wire. There's some sheets. There's some housings. And we're fabricating. All right. We're producing stators at 60 per minute. Here's our output from both machines. Okay, we have stators, so we have everything we need. We just need to put this back onto our bus, and we'll be ready to assemble these into our final product of electronics. Rail support. 1, 2. I'm going to leave it at full height here. We're going to go across to here. And bring it down. And this will go right there. Now, our final stop. Furnace. We're going to have, I think we're running 8 of these. Let's take a look. We're making electronics. It's 1 every 5 seconds, so that's how we're able to run 8 of these. It's a long manufacturing time. Yeah, so we have 8 furnaces running electronics. So we have 192, 96, and 96, which is 384. So that'll all fit on a single input rail. We'll wire up 8 furnaces with rail connectors here. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. By far the deepest manufacturing chain. All right, let's get our rail connections here. And 1. And I think I'll bring these back forward again. And then we'll put a big V2 storage here at the end of the line. We're gonna need, well, let me put all these rails in first, then we'll work on our individual item inputs. There we go. So let's set our recipes and then we'll get our item inputs hooked up. So we had this. Electronics. And electronics, okay. Run back to the front of the line here.
I'm detecting increased structural activity. Prepare
You couldn't hold off for 5 more minutes. Alright, we're gonna need synthetic silicon, inductors, and stators. Well, we know where stators are because we just finished up with those. They're right here. We're gonna do a rail connector. I guess it doesn't matter if they... We don't need a secondary bus because there's not going to be anything forward from here, right? So we don't need to do a forward and then back again setup. So you're going to go from... I can get the camera to look at it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, you. Go into this. Go into this. Why is it so finicky? Oh my god. There's one. Alright, inductors. That's you. You go to here. That's... No. Go into there, thank you. And then... synthetic silicon is you. Oh, you didn't get brought forward. Okay, well, we'll take care of that in just a second here. Okay, so synthetic silicon should be this rail right here, which I'm going to have to temporarily disconnect this to get to. Run this to here. We'll run this to here. We'll run all of this to the left. And that should be everything we need. Like silicon, stators, inductors. We're furnacing. I wonder how far this will take me. The menu will stay open. Alright, it's not outputting though. Then we set our buffer. Oh yeah, we don't have a buffer yet. Our buffer is going to go at the front of the line, because this is the end of the factory. So let's put a storage depot V2. I guess right here. So we actually will probably want to make this a rail connector instead of a rail support. We'll bring this forward. Oh, actually we can just bring this right into here, right? We don't need this at all. So we'll set this to electronics. Here they come. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Okay, so while we're here, before we run off to do other shenanigans, is there a corporation that wants electronics? Future Health? No. Selenian? Yeah, so we'll set up Selenian with electronics. I'm gonna grab a handful of these. I sure don't need that many, but we're gonna need some to create our power cell. So we'll let these deliver to Selenian while we run off and unlock access to the Forgotten Engine. Okay, I was way wrong. So you only need a few to actually make the power cell, but you need 400 to actually unlock the recipe. So I'm gonna grab 400 of each of these chemicals and electronics. I'm gonna grab another handful here. I don't know exactly how many it's gonna take to make it, but we'll grab, I don't know, 30. Put these here. We'll hook back up our OCL so that they can keep delivering to Selenian Corporation. There you go. Okay, now let's head back. Oh, before I run off, let's take a look at the actual factory we made here. Now that the sun is back out again. So here we go. This is a surprisingly narrow, actually, electronics factory made in, I guess technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stacks of manufacturers here. So there you go. Not quite, I guess at an angle it looks a bit better. When you get the different buildings mixed together, I think it looks a little bit funkier. It doesn't look bad, but I don't know, something about like having just rows of furnaces all together looks a bit better than having like fabricator, furnace, then cargo receiver, then fabricator V2. At any rate, we are all set here for electronics, all the way through, I guess that's what we're going to need for our TSC generators. So now let's go back and unlock access to the Forgotten Engine. Okay, recipe station, basic item printer, 400, 400, and 1,000 data points. There we go. Power cell is unlocked in the item printer, which we will only ever need to craft one of, well, for now at least. Although I doubt the other Forgotten Engines are going to require power cell as their inputs, considering they're going to be much later in the game, so they'll probably require higher level components to build. But here we go. 1, and we're ready. But before I run over and attempt a speed run at the Forgotten Engine, I'm going to take a little break here, so I'll meet back up with you in just a bit. Okay, well, we've arrived here at the Forgotten Engine, and our next task is going to be to get through here and reactivate it. I had some people ask if I could put together a guide on the quickest way to do the Forgotten Engine, and I don't know if there's a way to kind of trick speed run it or to run past everything, But I will cover all the steps that you have to do in the order and then go through kind of, I guess, the best pathing to get through it, because you do have to do a number of steps in order to open up the path in order to get to the control center. But I guess the first speedrunning tip is that you don't actually need the power cell to get into the Forgotten Engine. You can actually access the Forgotten Engine as soon as you get a hold of the drone tool. For anyone who watched Let's Game It Out's video on StarRupture, he was able to exploit a bug where you could slide off of a ladder and trigger an infinite flight bug, and then he uses infinite flight to fly into a hole in the geometry right around here that lets you get above the elevator that accesses the Forgotten Engine. Now, as far as I know, that bug has been removed from the game, but you can still access the same area using the infinite jump technique using the drone tool, where you jump twice, trigger the drone tool, which causes you to hover in midair and regenerate your stamina. And as soon as you disable the drone tool, you jump another 2 times and then repeat practically infinitely, as long as you're able to stop and recover your stamina. But you can use this route right here to climb up the side of this mountain to kind of get into the area where the Forgotten Engine meets the mountainside. And this will allow you to drop down into a hole in the geometry. This will allow you to access the outside of the elevator that takes you inside the Forgotten Engine, and you're going to want to stay outside of this kind of dark, transparent cube until you get directly above the elevator. If you go inside that dark, transparent cube, it will actually prevent you from activating your drone tool, and you'll just fall out of the bottom of the map. So you want to stay above that square until you get above the elevator, then drop onto the top of the elevator, and then you can simply grab the key card and enter the Forgotten Engine. Now, you can't get back out again once you've gone in this way because you don't have a power cell to open the exterior door. So you will be stuck in there once you've activated the Forgotten Engine, with the only way out being to respawn your character using the respawn button in the menu, which will allow you to travel back to either the start of the game or your regeneration chamber. So while you won't be able to bring any of your loot out of the Forgotten Engine, you will be able to at least activate the Forgotten Engine and then gain access to the new areas without having to unlock power cells or go down the tech tree. However, I am going to do this the correct way now that I have a power cell. I'm going to get inside here, and I'll go over exactly what you need to do in what order. Our very first stop is going to be this dead body outside here. He's going to have 1 accumulator on him. We're going to need to be collecting 4 different types of items. We're going to need 3 stabilizers, 3 generators, 4 accumulators, and 8 electromagnetic coils. Now, all of these are going to be able to find while running around inside the Forgotten Engine, but we do just need to keep an eye out for them. So to start, we're going to put our power cell into the door.
I need this for the entrance.
Bring us inside. Airlock ourselves through. And then on the left, we're going to grab the key card and head inside.
Remember that everything you see here is highly classified. It's that you may only divulge this information to the Claywood.
So the way this is broken down is that we're going to be going to 3 different decks. We're going to start on the main engine deck. The main engine deck will allow us to get access to the northern stairwell on the opposite side. From the northern stairwell, we can go down to the logistics layer. Inside logistics, we can reactivate the backup generator, which will restore power to the control room back on the main engine deck. We'll go back up there. Inside the control room, we'll find a key card, which will allow us to get up into tech stations. Inside tech stations, we can use those items that we found laying around in order to craft a core, and then we can go back down into the main engine, use the core to activate the Forgotten Engine, and get the heck out of here. So our first stop is going to be main engine, which is downstairs.
Do we know why it's not working?
We're going to need to keep an eye out for those items we mentioned. Stabilizers, and generators, and accumulators, and electromagnetic coils.
Who would have thought?
Basically look for anything glowing orange. We'll probably need some bullets as well for the shootout at the end. So there's one of our stabilizers, one of our generators. I'm going to organize them like this. Take some bullets, some stamina, bullets.
You now have a chance to find out why the project
In here, we have a container with an accumulator and a generator in it. Whoops.
Reloading.
Itchy trigger finger. Keep an eye out for boxes. From here, we're going to make a right at this junction and head towards staircase south. In the testing room, we're going to shoot this pustule, this tumor, to open up the door from the other side. You can take this shortcut if you would like. We're gonna go around the corner here, pile here with another accumulator on it, and I want to say, yeah, there's a body here with nothing. Inside the testing room, there are various piles of debris here that have generators, accumulators, and there's a body in here with nothing in it. So we have 4 generators, 4 accumulators. So we already have all of the generators and accumulators we're going to need. We just need to keep an eye out for stabilizers. And we need 1 electromagnetic coil off of the floor because there are 2 large caches of electromagnetic coils. 1 is inside the main engine room and the control room, and 1 is inside the tech lab. So we just need a couple of stabilizers. We're going to go straight to a northern stairwell, taking a detour around this locked door to the left. Box, nothing. Box here. Here's a stabilizer. We need 1 more stabilizer. So this is a door that we're going to come back to later on. Right now it is powered down, so we have to get the generator online first.
We should find the generator.
From what I know, the backup generator is down on
Now
the
we can head
logistics
straight
level.
to the
Okay,
northern
let's
staircase
move that.
here, but I do want to find 1 more stabilizer.
Excellent work.
Actually, we'll take these coils.
Selenium Corporation.
From here, we're going to take staircase north to the logistics layer here, so we're going to go down.
What does this forgotten engine actually do?
The Forgotten Engine served as terraforming machines. Each one was built
Check
for a
this
different
box down
purpose.
here, no stabilizers. So inside logistics, we're going to look for a stabilizer while we can actually ignore most of these pustules. I'm going to check in here for a stabilizer. Hello, boys. No stabilizers, so we'll head out. We're going to pop into... Here's a stabilizer. Okay. We're going to head into the bathroom here. Once we get to the bathroom, we're going to hang a left, and then another left, and then immediate right. You can open this door. Make a left into the cooling station. Make a right. Open this door by popping the tumors. Make an immediate right. Take this to the end.
Disgusting.
Go left into the engine room. We're going to put 2 bullets into each of these tumors.
Reloading. Gal, we've reached the generator.
Good work. Now find a way to turn it on.
There we go. Power's on. We're going to go straight out, open this door, run through this hallway,
According to my analysis, despite only the backup generator being
open this door.
there should be enough power.
We're going to make a right, and we're going to go straight down this hallway through the door that we opened earlier to the northern staircase.
Of course.
Once in staircase north, we're going to go back down, to, or we're going to go back up, I'm sorry, to the main engine, the main floor. There we go. We're going to make an immediate right. And then another immediate right. Open this door. Now the power's back on. We're going to grab this key card and we're going to close the door again to keep the heat off of us.
I see you nearing the control center.
There we go.
Everything's going according to plan.
Now inside the main control room, in the control center, we're going to visit our buddy here.
Too.
We're going to borrow his 4 electromagnetic coils, and I'm also going to take his greater endurance lem here. We don't need anything in here. So now we're going to head back out, and we're going to go up to the tech level. I'm also going to re-up our stamina here. We're going to head left. Clear this hall. Clear this mess. What in the...
Reloading.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Go up. We're going up to tech stations. Open this door.
Any ideas where we might
Close
find
this door. Good grief.
I hope it's
Alright, so now we're going to go straight to the tech lab,
Changing mags.
which is going to be at the end of this hallway. We're going to make a left. And then we're going to take a right. Then we're going to take a left. Open this door. Close this door. Okay, now, inside here should be a box with some more electromagnetic coils in it. There we go. Now we're at 9, and we have everything that we're going to need to craft this main engine central core. So we're going to craft that. We're going to take a look. There used to be blueprints in here, but I think all these have been moved out into the full outer world, but I'll grab these just for tech points, but it's not part of the speedrun. There's just a bunch of extra data points in here to turn in when you get back home.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
is this...
I mean,
okay.
yeah, sure.
So, we're going to go out this door, we're going to make a right and go back to the north stairwell.
We can create the part we need
A
here.
left. And a right. Here's staircase north. We can't shut these guys in, but we can shut them in here. Go back down to the main floor. Everybody wants to see me. All right, we're gonna close this door. Keep the heat off. We're gonna make an immediate right. Back into the control room. Close this door so that we don't get additional enemies during the
We're
final
entering the control
confrontation.
center with the core. Gal, is there anything we should know?
My data does not factor in the condition the engine is
Okay,
currently
we're ready.
in. If nothing unexpected happens,
We're gonna put
the
our
engine
core
should
in,
activate.
insert,
Understood. I mean, great.
then activate. I'm gonna keep an eye out for enemy spawns here. It's gonna come in waves.
20%.
Might as well grab this while we're at it.
Everything according to plan.
Warning. Alien life forms detected.
Damn it!
Initialization interrupted.
Which side first? I think it's left side first. Let's see. We should still have a spot up here. I think they can still, like, get up to you here. That takes them a bit. And they can only come up one at a time. If you get swarmed, you can always just stand on the desktop. Can you not? These guys are easier if you can get them in a line and use your piercing ammo on them.
No
we go.
alien life forms detected. Deactivating quarantine mode.
Continuing.
Should have known.
Once these doors open and enemies pour out of it, you can come in here for some additional ammo.
I don't think I can use this.
50%.
We're halfway there.
60%.
Okay, now we should get this door open.
Life forms detected.
Once again.
Initialization interrupted. Entering quarantine mode.
Hey. I'm gonna take care of the range guys ASAP. Everybody else you can just kite in a circle. Easy peasy. Let's go loot this room.
This time the enemy was stronger. We should prepare before we turn the engine on again.
All good.
Ready.
Resuming engine activation sequence.
Sure.
%.
Almost there.
Quick save. I think this might be a bit different. Looks like there was some more, some flashier effects here since early access. We'll have to see them side by side to really know for sure.
95%. Commencing final sequence.
Uh-huh.
Warning.
All right, here's the big fight. I want to pop a heal over time.
Initialization interrupted. Entering quarantine mode.
Changing mags.
They'll all spawn on one side. And then halfway through the fight, they'll all spawn on the other side. Ooh, I'm stuck in zoom in. I can't unzoom. There we go.
Reloading.
There they are. Keep them on one side. There you are.
Changing mags.
Wait. Too easy. All right, let's finish it up. Bring it in.
Initialization complete. Commencing hydrogen compound release. Test complete. All systems at 24% efficiency. World engine activated.
24% efficiency, that's terrible.
Atmospheric test. Concentration of hydrogen compounds increased by 4%. Background radiation in area G4 reduced by 62%. Congratulations. You did it.
Before you run off, make sure you loot the control panel.
Able to activate the forgotten engine. You should be very proud.
Damage memory core and war bonds, although I don't know if I need any more war bonds at this point, but we'll grab them.
A reward for this.
Yes, a little R&R would be nice, but I know that's not possible.
Still, a vacation is a nice thought, isn't it?
Yes, my friend. It's very nice.
Okay, now that's all that's left is to get back to the southern staircase and get up to the elevator to get back out again. The starting of the Forgotten Engine has reduced radiation levels on Arcadia 7. The Claywood Corporation is very pleased with your achievements. Mr. Claywood insists you explore new areas of the planet. Their riches should help— oh, that doesn't actually stop time, okay?
Time to get back to work.
Understood.
Thanks for giving me time to read your very important message. Here we go, staircase south, and we're gonna head to— I think we went up to get here. We're gonna close this door. And head up. Tech stations, there we go, maintenance. And here, we can take the elevator back out again. Nice and easy. So, with that done, that's one of the two things that I wanted to get through in this episode. So the other thing is that I wanted to get access to the Furnace V2 so that we can start refactoring some of our existing factories where needed, and more importantly, make our future factories more efficient. So let me get back to base, unload some of this stuff in my inventory, and then we'll take a look at wrapping up those last couple of recipes to get access to Furnace V2. Okay, home sweet home. Let's unload some of this. Let's turn in whatever data objects we managed to snag on our speed run here.
Data collected.
There we go. We're gonna head upstairs into here and equip our Greater Endurance Giver Lem.
Perfect.
Bring us up to, I actually don't know what our starting stamina is, so I don't know what adding 80 to it gets us to, but okay, we have clean inventory. We're missing a lot of building materials, so let me grab some of these, fill up our pockets.
Just what I need.
There we go. All right, now let's take a look at the last 2 recipes that we're going to need to unlock in order to get at the Furnace V2s. Yes, I think it's 2 recipes. Let's take a look. Furnace, we have Hardening Agent and Super Magnets, and it looks like it. So to do that, we're going to need access to sulfuric acid, which is going to be sulfur and chemicals. We have chemicals, we have access to sulfur, so we can put together a quick run of sulfuric acid. We're not going to make a finalized factory or a mass production factory, we're just going to make enough to get these last 2 unlocks so that we can wrap up this episode, and then in a future episode we'll do a proper sulfuric acid factory. But we have the hardening agent blueprint, so that's great. So we're just going to need sulfuric acid, we have plates, we have chems, we have synthetic silicon. We just need a run of 300 applicators. So let me start there. I'll get 300 applicators made up. Because we do have access to glass, and we do have access to tubes right here. So we'll take tubes out. We'll take glass out. We'll run this temporarily into a fabricator and churn out some applicators into a storage depot. There we go. This is a 4-second recipe. Well, it's not going to be super quick. I'll probably make a second fabricator here to speed this along. Okay, while we're waiting for those applicators to be constructed, let's set up some sulfur extraction and dispatching here. So it looks like we're facing all these guys in this direction. And put our last couple of sulfur extractors down. Now, each one of these is going to be 240 items per minute. So we're going to want to combine 2 together onto a single rail in order to make a full 480. So we'll combine, say, these 2 and these 2, and then we'll have 1 left over. So we'll bring this into here. This into there. There's 480. You into here. You into there. There's 480. And we need to get these up out of this pit. Say, like this. And like this. That works for me. Let me get over there. Now, we're going to want to set up a couple of storage depots. Let's say V2s, because why not? We've got the materials for it right now. So we'll line this right about here. We'll do 1 into 1, 1 into the other. Let's build some power. Symmetry. Although I kind of hate how that points into that storage depot, but whatever. Alright, now we're going to set these to extract sulfur and sulfur. And because we have 480 in on each of these, we're going to set up 2 dispatchers on each of these. Say here. 1, 2. And we aligned this with this, so here and here. We need some more power. There we go. Now we're going to take a multi-rail Lock our Z. We'll go to here. And then we're going to take 2 discrete outputs from here so that we can get 480 items per minute speed, even though we're not necessarily getting 480 items per rail. We'll bring this forward. Bring this in here. Same deal on this side. There we go. So we'll start over here. We'll call this Sulfur TX1. Sulfur TX2. Sulfur TX3. And Sulfur TX4. There we go. Then we're going to bring this back to our chemical base. So we have 8 furnaces producing chemicals at the moment, because we were holding off to get a hold of V2s in hope of a more efficient recipe. So each one of these is producing 60 items per minute. So we have a total of 480 chemicals available per minute. So let's take a look at the pressurizer. Just plop it down any old place and see what this recipe looks like. So to make sulfuric acid is going to take every 2 seconds we're consuming...
I'm really not happy about what happened in the Forgotten Engine.
You done? Okay. So every 2 seconds we're consuming 8 sulfur ore and 4 chemicals. This I like a lot better. The original recipe for sulfuric acid had like a 0.5 second manufacturing time, and this thing just guzzled down sulfuric acid. Now, it's still going to be pretty significant. 8 sulfur every 2 seconds is nothing to shake a leg at, but let's do a little calculation here. So that's going to be 8 times 30. So every minute this is consuming 240 sulfur and 120 chemicals, right? Because 4 times 30 is 120. So because we have 480 chemicals available, that means we'll be able to place 4 of these pressurizers. Right, so we'll take the output from this, and then we just do it in another row here. We'll lock our Y, or lock our Z here. We'll go forward 1, 2. Bring this forward a bit, so it's at least forward from where the output of this thing is going to be. Let's do one more. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to take our chemicals. We'll modulate these this way. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll keep it straight. We're going to break one off this way. We're going to take the outside rail forward so that we can double stack our rails here. 1 here, 1 forward, 1 here, 1 forward, 1 here. Now we're going to need cargo receivers to bring our sulfur in here. So we'll place 1 here and 1 here. We'll modulate these together. 1 here, 1 here. All right, and now we're going to need to bring these, I guess we'll go up. Oh, let's go down 1. It should make this easier. We'll go down 1 because then we can go under this rail, right? And then we'll just bend this rail. We'll take you down. This will actually be our forward output. So you'll come in here. You'll come in here. You'll bend around to the next. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. So, let's just do our calculations here. So we know sulfuric acid, 4 times 30 is 120. 120 times 4 is 480. That's all of our chemical output. So we're going to need twice as much sulfur. It's 240. So we can actually only run 2 of these. My eyes were too big. Well, we could run 4. We just need a separate set of rails to run the other 2. So for now, we'll set these to... I guess we'll start here. We'll run these backwards. So this is going to be sulfur RX1. You're going to collect from sulfur TX1. You're going to be sulfur RX2. You're going to collect from sulfur... I did not set that to collect sulfur. That's fine, I'll run back over there. And then we're also going to need to take the output of this container here to storage depot with chemicals and run this through this connector into here, and this will feed all these. But I do need to break this line here. So this will be 240 and 240 sulfur from this. And then how do we want to get the other 240 in here? Do we just do a separate line going this way and then feed it back in? Or do we put our other receivers? Well, we can't really do it here because there's a Vulpir nest here. Here, we'll just stack these outputs. So we'll take 2 receivers here. We're going to run these back to the left, so I've just kind of sent these against each other. So this will continue our chemicals from this feed, and then from here we're going to bring our 480 sulfuric ore into here. Now there's a bend. Okay, so that's all of our refineries, or what do they call it now, pressurizers. All our pressurizers fed with items. We just need to set these up. This will be Sulf RX3 to TX3 and Sulf RX4 connect to TX4. And before I power this up, I'm going to go set up that TX2 that I missed the sulfur on, so give me just a second. Okay, we're ready. Let's connect up our rail, deliver some power. We need to go set our recipes here. So we've got this one set. Sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. I see chems coming in. These just got powered up, so it's going to be a minute till sulfur arrives. There they are. Here comes the sulfur. It's not exactly fully efficient, but this is not the final form of this. This is just the most that we can manufacture with our current access to sulfur and our current time availability to construct a factory. So I'm going to collect the output of these machines. All these need to do is produce for us 3,000 sulfuric acid, which we can then use to unlock the final 2 recipes for furnace. We'll collect these. Oh yeah, what does the output of this look like? We're producing 4 every 2 seconds, so we can fit 4 of these on a single V3 rail, which is perfect because that's what we have. So we'll take rail modulator. I guess we'll send it this way to the left. Lock RZ. 1, 2, 3. We gotta go up 1 here. Bring these all to the left. Drop a storage depot. Rail in. Make this sulfuric acid. Here it comes. Okay, there's 1500. So let's head back to home base and unlock our first of 2 recipes. Okay, I went back to our home base and I grabbed our 300 applicators. I grabbed our 600 wolfram plates off of our heat-resistant sheet line. I also brought the quartz and ignition that we're going to need once we get everything unlocked here. So let's start pushing all these into some machines. So, furnace. Our first unlock here is hardening agent. So I'm going to put in our blueprints, our 300 applicators, our 1500 sulfuric acid, and also drop our 800 wolfram plates in here for super magnets. So I'm going to need 600 chems, 800 synth silicon, and another 1500 sulfuric acid to finish this off. Okay, let's finish this off. So, furnace. We've got 800 synth silicon and 1000 data points. Hardening agent unlocked. Super magnet. 600 chemicals. 1500 sulfuric acid. Nope, only 1400. But I left another 100 right here on the floor. So we'll pump this in as well. There we go. 1500, 1000 data points, and we're done. 100% fabricator, 100% furnace. Now I do need to build over at this base a development station. Here we go. We'll put this right here. And then in the development station, we can go to Selenium Corporation. Furnace V2, supply the development station with the required items, 80 quartz, 20 ignitium, 4,000 data points, and research. Here we go. It's the first time I've actually had access to these Furnace V2s. I did not, I had access to them in the, Update 1 preview I did, but I didn't actually have all the furnace recipes unlocked, so I never was actually able to build them. So this will be my first time taking a look. Oh, it's chonky. Look. He's got those love handles. And 4 inputs. So we have alternative recipes for calcium powder, wolfram powder, ceramics, chemicals, glass. I'll go back through these again, so don't, if you're pausing to look at these, I will go over them. Heat-resistant sheets and hardening agent. So calcium powder. Let's plop down a regular furnace. We'll do an A-B comparison here. So normal calcium powder is 1 block in and is producing 60 per minute. This calcium powder is 10 every 3 seconds, so we're more than 3xing our output for the cost of double our calcium blocks. So that's great efficiency boost. So 2 calcium blocks creates 10 calcium powder every 3 seconds. That extra powder is going to be obnoxious to deal with. Wolfram powder, let's look at our base recipe. 1 wolfram bar becomes 3 wolfram powder every 2 seconds. So that's 90 per minute. Over here, wolfram powder, we're creating 10 every 2 seconds, which is 300 per minute at the cost of 2 wolfram bars. That's insane. Ceramics. The base recipe is 1 calcite sheet, 1 wolfram powder, creates 2 ceramics every 2 seconds, which is 60 per minute. Over here, we now have calcite sheets, wolfram powder, and helium-3. So we're adding in some helium. 1 and 1, 1 and 1. So same amount of sheets and wolfram powder. But we're adding 2 helium-3, and we're producing 4 ceramics every 2 seconds. So we're doubling our output for the addition of 2 additional helium. So this is producing 120 per minute. Chemicals. We have 1 synth silicon, 3 wolfram powder, and 1 helium-3. Every 2 seconds creates 2 chemicals, or 60 per minute. So over here,
Dehydrated.
we have 1 calcium powder, 2 wolfram powder, 4 helium-3, and 1 gothite ingot for 4 chemicals every 2 seconds. So we're doubling our output. We're doubling our output for the addition of 4 times the helium, so 4 helium-3 instead of 1 helium-3, and a goethite ingot to produce 120 per minute. For glass, we have 1 helium-3 and 2 calcium powder. Produces 1 glass every 3 seconds, which is 20 per minute. Right? 60 divided by 3 is 20. 20 times 1 is 20. Yep. So over here we have glass is 1 pressurized helium. Ooh. 1 calcite sheet and 1 goethite ingot is going to produce 4 glass every 3 seconds. So we're 4xing our output. We do have some somewhat higher level materials here. We're also losing the calcium powder. We have to do calcite sheet, which I guess is technically easier to make. This is done in the fabricator instead of a furnace. 1 helium-3 is becoming a pressurized helium, so we need a lesser version of calcium, a greater version of helium, and the addition of the goethite ingot to 4x our glass output, which is pretty crazy. Heat-resistant sheets. 1 wolfram plate, 2 titanium sheets, 1 glass produces 1 heat-resistant sheet every 4 seconds. That's 15 per minute. Over here, whoa, we're going from 1 to 5x every 4 seconds. This is now made of titanoferrite ingots, wolfram steel ingots, and helium-3. So a much higher versions of titanium and wolfram combined with goethite, basically. So we're combining titanium and goethite, and then we're combining wolfram and goethite, and then 3 helium-3, which is not using this at all, so we're adding an additional component here of helium-3, but this will allow us to 5x our heat-resistant sheet output, which makes that ridiculously large base that we built already to produce heat-resistant sheets seem kind of silly. We could have cut that to a 5th by using these V2s, but obviously we didn't have access to this at that time. So hardening agent, we have not made it all yet. We have 5 sulfuric acid, 1 synth silicon, 1 applicator, produces 2 hardening agents every 4 seconds, which is, what, 30 per minute? Now this was one of the big bottlenecks in early access because of the number of materials that went into producing these hardening agents. Specifically, the applicators made this a bit of a nightmare to scale up. So over here, we have 2 sulfuric acid, 1 synth silicon, 1 applicator, and 1 pressurized helium. Every 4 seconds produces 5 hardening agents. So we're 2.5xing our output. For less sulfuric acid, only 2 instead of 5. We're using the same amount of synth silicon, the same amount of applicators, but we're adding a pressurized helium. So overall, these lower numbers are much nicer, and the larger output is much nicer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to implementing all of these V2 recipes because they all seem like they're going to give us a big productivity increase, big efficiency increase, but all that is going to have to wait till the next episode because that's what we're going to call it for this one. So we accomplished a decent amount today. We got a number of checklist items done, though, which is the one thing that's been lacking from some of the earlier episodes. Is we've been doing a lot of incremental things, but not really hitting any big milestones. But we hit 2 big ones in this one. We got an electronics factory online. We got access to power cells. We got access to the Forgotten Engine. We went over how to speedrun the Forgotten Engine, and we got our last couple of recipes unlocked.
I'm detecting increased Ruptura activity.
That's just in time, then. We got our last couple of recipes unlocked to get a hold of Furnace V2s, which will put us in a pretty good spot for the next episode, because now the world is our oyster. The radiation zone around the map has been peeled back, so we'll be able to explore all new areas in the next episode. We'll have access to all new resources, and we'll have access to greatly improved recipes to pump all of those new resources into. So the next episode will be a big one, but yeah, we're gonna have to wait until that comes around. So if you've made it this far, then thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this playthrough of StarRupture, hit like and subscribe. If you want to check out StarRupture for yourself, head on over to Steam and pick it up. And if you want to let me know what you think of the game so far, then hit the comments down below. But whatever you do, I'll see you right here again in the next one. So, until then, bye-bye.